Hey, First Baptist, break out the percolator, fix yourself some coffee. It's time for Coffee with Chris. Hey, First Baptist. Today I want to talk to you about something that's just near and dear to my heart, and that is the biblical command to love our neighbor and the opportunity that stands before us as a church and as individuals in the coming months. You know, we're about to emerge from what could arguably be called the most socially distant year in the recent history, if not the entire history of the United States of America. We have just been separated from one another because of all the shutdowns. More people are working at home than ever. Fewer people are going out. Fewer people are eating in restaurants. A number of different things. We're just not as connected as we used to be. And really, all the pandemic did was kind of accelerate what had already started with the advent of social media and electronic communications that happen in the world in an increasing measure today. We're more distant and we're less connected physically to those around us than we ever have been. People are substituting online relationships and electronic relationships for physical relationships and spending time with one another. And that's not good. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with having electronic communication or social media. I love both of those. There's nothing wrong with staying in touch with someone using FaceTime or those types of things. I talk to my grandkids all the time on FaceTime. Talk to my son and my daughter who live in Knoxville, Tennessee regularly using electronic communication. But those things are no substitute for the biblical commands to love one another. To love one another in a way prescribed by Scripture requires us to spend time with one another. And so as we are beginning to emerge from this year of pandemic shutdown, a tremendous opportunity lies before us as a church and individuals. An opportunity just to get to know our neighbors so we can obey the biblical command that Jesus Christ gives us in the gospel to love our neighbors as ourselves. I've been reading this great book called The Art of Neighboring by Jay Pathak and Dave Runyon, and I'd love for you to pick up a copy. And matter of fact, I'm even thinking about doing a reading group this summer and to talk through it some more. But in the book, he just talks about some simple, practical ways, some simple, practical steps that we can take as Christians just to begin to love our neighbors. And by neighbors, I'm not just talking about random people we bump into, but the person that lives across the street from you, the person that lives next door to you, the person that lives just around the corner. How can we engage those people and get to know them and begin to love them and serve them the way Christ commands us to? And so the book just really challenges us in a number of ways. And as I'm reading the book, I'm just reminded of a quote that's been attributed to Teddy Roosevelt. It's been attributed to Arthur Ashe. And the quote is this: "Start where you are, use what you have, do what you can." So that's what I want to challenge you to do over the next few weeks and the next few months as we begin to increasingly engage with one another and come out of our pandemic cocoons, is just to make an intentional effort to get to know your neighbor and start where you are. Maybe you've been living in your house, in your neighborhood for a couple of years and you don't know anybody that lives around you. That happens. And there's nothing wrong with that. So if that's your case, if that's the case for you, then maybe in the next few weeks you can just walk across the street on a Saturday afternoon and knock on the door and say, "Hey, my name is Chris, and it just bugs me that I've been living here for a year and I don't know your name, and I just thought I'd come over and introduce myself and let you know if there's ever anything you can need, if there's ever any way that me or even my church could serve you, I want you to know you are free to come over and knock on my door. Matter of fact, here's my cell phone number. Feel free to give me a call if you need anything." Or maybe you actually know the names of your neighbors and you've waved at them for years, but you've never done anything together. Maybe this summer, maybe this spring will be the time when you can have a joint cookout. You can throw some burgers on the grill and just sit out in the backyard and play some cornhole and get to know one another on a more personal basis. Here's the thing. It's really difficult to love people we don't know. And it's tough to get to know people if we don't ever take a step of faith and introduce ourselves. And so over the coming weeks and months. You could almost think of this as an Easter challenge. I just want to challenge you to pick one or two families in your neighborhood, one or two families in your community, on your street, and just make an intentional effort to reach out and get to know them. I know I'm going to do that. I've already identified 5 houses that my wife and I walk by regularly as we walk the dogs in our neighborhood. And between now and the end of the month, I'm going to knock on those doors. I'm going to introduce myself. I'm going to make sure those individuals have my cell phone number. I'm going to make sure those individuals know that my house is a safe place. My house is a place they can go if they ever need anything. If there's anything I can help with, and it may be they need help moving something in the garage, it may be that something terrible has befallen their family. Regardless, I want them to know I want to be there for them. And that's just a simple way to love our neighbors. And so I'd love to hear from you in the coming weeks how you think you can do that. Now, as we think about this, Easter is coming up. And we've actually entitled our Easter celebrations Resurrection and Reconnection. There have been a lot of people that haven't been able to come to church in the last few months or even the last year because of a number of difficulties, but increasing number of folks have begun to get their vaccine and they're feeling safer than they ever have. And so we're anticipating having a great crowd for our Easter services. And I would love for you to be a part of that. That would be a great opportunity for you to get to know some people in your community. And maybe it'll be a great opportunity for you to invite your neighbor to join you for worship. Well, until we talk again, hope you have a great cup of coffee on multiple occasions. Spend some time in the Word. I look forward to seeing you this Sunday.